Go.
Hello, I'm Brittany Rhyant, and I did my project on Does History Repeat Itself? And I found that it does indeed repeat itself because from Raina's Promise, which is a book that we read, it talks about the Holocaust, which began in 1939, and how the Germans started to execute the Jews at the concentration camps because Hitler thought that the Jews were the cause of all of Germany's economic problems. So he began to kill the Jews in the concentration camps by gassing and crematoriums or beating them to death, or by starvation and by disease. And the amount of Jews that were killed during this genocide were 4.1 million people, which is a lot. And that affected a lot of people. Now, the topic, how does history repeat itself, was that here it is, there was a genocide in Germany in 1939, and approximately 50 years later in Rwanda, there was another genocide, which had similarities to the genocide in Germany, because the people like your neighbors and people that you lived around all of a sudden decided that they didn't want you around, basically, or any of your people. So in Rwanda, when the president was assassinated, the Hutu, which was a group, like an ethnic group in Rwanda, decided that the Tutsi were no longer needed and that they wanted to exterminate all of them. So they began to kill them with machetes, iron bars, axes, basically their daily utensils that they used at their jobs. And they murdered about 800,000 people, which was a lot of Tutsi, and it was a very, very cruel time for them. And their houses, their villages, everything was destroyed. And the similarities between those two genocides were that the way that they killed them in the levels of cruelty were similar, but the differences were that the Germans were actually soldiers, they were trained, and the Hutu were not trained. They were just regular people that just decided that they needed to kill the Tutsi. And another example of history repeating itself is in how first they killed my father, which was a book that we read for summer reading. It talked about how in Cambodia, Pol Pot decided that the Khmer Rouge people did not need to be in existence anymore, so he started to kill a lot of them and put them in camps, but not kill them as harshly as the Germans killed the Jews. And approximately 1.7 million people were killed in that genocide. And that is my paper.